You gave him the Final Four. You gave him Schwartz, Munkin, Udinski, and Shieldhouse. And then you said, maybe that McDermott guy. And then he went to that McDermott guy.
I know. He didn't do anything with the Final Four. The real Final Four. But I don't really want to do anything with the Final Four either right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really hard to put those four names up against a guy who got fired for being successful but not successful enough.
I was almost embarrassed presenting the names to him. You know what I mean? As if it's my responsibility, as if I combed through this and I came up with this list and let me present it to you as if I have to wear the bait. I don't like this. This is not good for me. I don't like the McDermott thing was an out. Clearly it was an out, and it had to be because there's some shame attached to what is currently being presented.
I just think listen, I think the Browns under Andrew Bear and Kevin Stefanski have been really, really good about acting like things aren't dysfunctional. That's why Jimmy, at the press conference just after moments after firing Stefanski, could say, I take offense to people that say that this ran to dysfunction. It's like you just fired a head coach and you've won 8 games in 2 years. At some point, this is just logic.
At some point, you have to call it what it is.
Just because
I guess it'd be weird if he did come out and be like, this is dysfunctional. I admit this. That would be weird.
That's fair. But, or he could just go full Terry Pagula and just throw everybody but Brandon Beane under the bus. But, this is not a good search as of right now. And it's funny, we've waited till they got to the succulent 6, and we withheld judgment. We waited after Mike McDaniel. Guys, at some point, you don't have to say, let's see how this plays out with where we're at right now.
Yeah, so here's another part of this, too.
It's now on the Browns to save it, in my opinion.
And saving it is McDermott. And McDermott needs no introduction. Everyone knows who he is across the NFL. And this is, Ryan, who's done play-by-play at the highest level for years, almost a decade worth of doing this for Westwood One, right? And within that context, I still had to feel like in presenting the Final Four, Fantastic Four, whatever we're calling them, might be copyright issues with the Fantastic Four. I'm not sure about that.
The Unfantastic Four?
Oh, see, now we're just getting mean, but I like it. But within that, I had to be like, so it's Jacksonville's Grant Udinski. I had to tell him where they are from, and I couldn't leave it out on an island like that because I wasn't sure. Someone that covers the NFL the way he does, I wasn't sure with certainty. I didn't want to embarrass him. I wasn't sure with certainty he knew who Grant Udinski is.
I'll just come back to, that's what's funny. Most people in the NFL media aren't going to be like, I don't know who the hell this guy is. That's just not how the NFL media works. So, and in fairness, the extent they know most of these guys, specifically Shieldhouse and Udinski, is this. They texted a friend who worked in Jacksonville and said, hey, what do you think about this guy?
Or even Minnesota in the spot prior. Yeah.
And in fairness, I know because I had to do that with both Udinski. Shieldhouse I knew a little bit more of because of the Illinois
college
thing.
Football and everything, but we don't know anything as far as a coach is concerned.
But still, everything, I swear, there's 2 people telling everyone what they know about Udinski, and there's 2 people telling everyone what they know about Shieldhouse. I know because I've probably talked to at least one of them, and everybody's saying the same thing. Do you know what that's synonymous with? Nobody knows a damn thing.
Well, and how could they, though? That's the other part of this, is how could they? For the ones that do, how could they know anything off of a year that, by all accounts, it seems like Liam Cohen just runs everything. He does everything within the offensive side of the ball there. He is taking over the reins there, and he sounds very controlling, by the way, which I did not get that impression from him in general.
Was it because
Maybe
of the Duval?
Yeah, a little bit of a goober. I just kind of didn't see that coming. But he's in charge of everything, and so I don't know what credit to give any of these guys, but the idea that I have to basically say out loud the jobs of these guys before presenting them to someone that's been in the NFL as long as Ryan Ratke has been, that's not great. It doesn't mean they can't be a great hire, by the way. They might end up being awesome. They might have really found their guy and been so ahead of the curve with all this. It's just, as of right now, what evidence do we have to go off of with that?
So here would be, I have thought that the Browns wouldn't have to get here. And, guys, I don't think it's about the quarterback position. The quarterback position, I think the laziest narrative is, wow, the quarterback position is really holding the Browns back. Most of the other jobs' quarterback position stinks. Kevin Stefanski's choosing between Michael Penix Jr. and Kirk Cousins. That's not a great place to start a new job on when you just went through 15 quarterbacks in 6 years in Cleveland. So other places, Miami, it's Quinn Ewers or Tua Tagovailoa. Or option C.
Yeah, give me the barf bag.
Arizona, Kyler Murray, Jacoby Brissett. Raiders with Mendoza, it just depends on how you feel about it.
Yeah, there are some decent ones, obviously.
But guys, this is more than just...
Ravens, Bills.
I think this is a hell of a lot more likely, the fallout of the optics of the Deshaun trade, how Jimmy Haslam went about business, and how Jimmy Haslam goes about business, and maybe what people think about Andrew Berry surviving when Kevin Stefanski didn't. I think that's more of a commentary on how this search has gone than just the damn quarterback position, which will look wildly different in a year.
Yeah, and as of right now, we weren't really in play for Harbaugh at all. But like we talked about some of the AFC title teams, Sean Payton, we wouldn't be involved in the Sean Payton sweepstakes.
Yeah.
We're not involved in a Mike Vrabel sweepstakes. We're not in on any of these guys that can come in here and instantly turn these teams around the way that Denver and New England now have been in just a snap of the finger turned around.
And I think that's where a guy like McDermott becomes something that I think this search is telling you what the Browns really need. And I think if you listen, like I've always, I think you've probably heard me say this a million times. When bad things happen to you, I don't necessarily go to the why. I go to what can I learn from it, right?
You're either right or you're learning is what I always say.
Many people are saying it.
That's what I always say.
I say you're getting healthy as you get older or you're getting crazier.
Oddly enough, it's one of the only times like Andy Roth was like, whoa, I like that one. I dropped it, you're either right or you're learning on him. He was like, whoa, I like that one. That's good. I'm like, you never say that about me.
I think if you just say Confucius-type stuff to Andy, I think he really
he likes the Tomlinisms of the world.
Yes, yeah.
You're being a little bit of a fork. We need more of a spoon.
Yeah. Now get forked. That said, I do think the Browns need a credibility hire. I think that's what this search is telling you. When Mike McDaniel, and again, I think Mike McDaniel figured out he wasn't going to be the head coach and backed out. But it's not about Mike McDaniel or Jesse Minter, who I think was always fated to be Baltimore's choice unless somebody stole the job from him. It's that you settled on 6 guys for second-round interviews. And the 2 most qualified guys to be the head coach, the guys with the best resume, the guys with the thing that you can sell the most, they are not going to be the head coach. And so even if it's your decision driving this there, you've erred on the way you've run this search. This is not a good search. It needs to be said now, even if they end up with a good head coach out of this. There's one too many forks in the road, and you've taken the wrong fork each time.
We need more spoons.
At which point you are forked. I just wanted to make the fork joke.
Okay, yeah.
That's what Sean McDermott is. And it's not Harbaugh. Harbaugh's a different level of credibility because he's got the Harbaugh brand name, because he's got the Super Bowl to his name.
Even Sean Payton is a different level. I think Vrabel's a different level as well.
McDermott, though, is under those coaches. I'm talking about optically, right? But he still has enough credibility and respect around the NFL that the second you hire him, this stink, this filth, this stench that is on your name gets taken off just a little bit because you got an adult in the room.
And I think I can also live with the idea that if after like 3, 4, 5 years, it's just not working, and the reality is that we're like, I guess McDermott really was made by Josh Allen. If that's the conclusion we get to, I'm all right taking that stab.
Yeah. Like if this
I can feel comfortable with that.
So with what you're saying, Shawn is, what did you say, 51?
51,
So
yeah.
51. Conceivably, he could be your head coach for the next 15 years. You could also get him in here and go 5 years. You make the playoffs 2 or 3 times. Maybe you find your quarterback, but in the end, you don't ascend farther than maybe the divisional round. If in 5 years, that's where you are and you move off Sean McDermott, the job's going to be in a much better place.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad spot to be in. I mean, that's in many ways outside of the previous 2 years where Stefanski was headed with this whole thing.
So it's funny because I know, like, we got a couple different pieces of sound on this of how people have defined, like, what the Udinsky or Shieldhouse sound would be, or the hires would be. And it's been described as outside the box. Big swings, right?
Yeah, big swing, Peter Schrager.
I don't know why they think that's what they need right now. Because big swings come out with striking out looking in the NFL more times than not. To me, a real big swing is we got a good head coach in the line, a guy that is a proven commodity, and a guy that is going to bring a level of respect to this thing, or at least build upon the respect that I think Kevin Stefanski had earned and built into this job for 6 years.
Well, and if we're staying with the baseball parlance of this all, it's like Andrew Berry doesn't take the double consistently enough. He doesn't,
yeah.
And it's sitting right there in front of you. This is not hard, but this is the part of me that just thinks he's going to go back to Udinsky or Shieldhouse, though. You talk about the big swing mentality. He just has it. There's just a part of his DNA that he likes taking the big swing. He likes making the big move. And there's a part of me that doesn't even hate that exists within him. The idea that he really just goes for broke often, but it's been a lot of years of this.
Yeah.
And you went broke so many times, I just can't believe you're ever going to get it right.
If you go for broke, if you make that big swing.
You're supposed to be fired.
Hey, Joey Gallo, if you hit 240, but you connect with 50 dingers.
And Kyle Schwarber.
You're fine. He's not hitting 240.
He's just not connecting with enough.
This is a buck 10.
And so yeah. And there's a part of me that I really do appreciate the idea of I got one shot to be a GM. That's all these guys ever really get. You get one shot to be a GM. I'm not going to be passive within this. I'm going to do it the way that I've always thought is right. I'm going to do it the way that young me, if I was ever in this job, I would always do it. I love that idea. I do. I don't hate that. But you don't have to force anything either.
I just think it's a failure to understand where you are. I don't need most of the NFL to understand the Browns are in an okay spot. They're not in a great spot. The lack of the ambiguity at quarterback, certainly for this year. You're stepping into a situation you have to make the best out of when the quarterback spot. But everything else they have, they can fix with relative ease in one offseason. So any smart coach, like a guy like McDermott, is going to be able to see the forest from the trees.
And that is, by the way, part of that Traeger clip is that they, he says the Browns believe, maybe it was a Jordan Schultz clip. I'm getting them all confused now. This is a Jordan Schultz clip. I'm sorry. Where he says how he believes, the Browns believe that they have way more than enough talent here. And they're not looking at this as some sort of, they're so far behind. They're looking at this as if they have the pieces and a lot of really good talent here.
Then, okay, if that's true, the worst thing you can do is take a big swing and miss on a head coach. It just is. And I to continue the baseball things, a double in this position is probably as good as it's going to get because your name right now, between the Deshaun Watson thing, between Kevin Stefanski making sure and his representation, letting everyone know Kevin had nothing to do with whatever went wrong. As a matter of fact, he did the best he could with what he's got, right? Which is a hell of a way to be loyal, by the way, to an organization that was the only organization that was going to make you the head coach. But I digress. I can understand Kevin had to vent his frustration one way or another because he sure as hell wasn't going to say on a microphone. But Baker's unclassy for tweeting it. However, I digress. I just can't handle the idea that there are plenty of candidates on the board that if all they are is solid hires, just different than Stefanski, but solid hires, you could be in a really good position the next 2 to 3 years, whereas it doesn't matter what you do. I think sometimes we forget that you can hire a bad head coach and he can throw the entire thing off by 3 years just by hiring the wrong head coach.
For sure. I
think that's where the Browns are if you hire the wrong guy.
Well, you might be there. I think the reality, though, is for Andrew Berry, I feel like he's constantly chasing the ghost of Deshaun. And I think he, in his mind, he knows as of right now, if he didn't if he didn't GM this team as of tomorrow, he's remembered for Deshaun Watson until the end of time. I think he's doing these type of hires with Shieldhouse and with Udinsky with the idea that if they become McVay, he can wipe away everything that people think about him currently. And I would tell him, if you get someone like McDermott in here and McDermott succeeds and it works, no one's going to care that you didn't get the next McVay. They're just going to think, wow, you figured it out. And the second act after Deshaun, we can start breaking this up into pre-Deshaun, post-Deshaun, and making this whole thing work. But if you fail with Udinsky and you fall flat on your face, you'll be remembered for Deshaun and a coaching hire that made no sense.
Win games. That's how people forget about Deshaun Watson. Do you get extra credit if you find the next McVay? Sure. But does it change
that's what he's going for.
Anything? Does it really change anything legitimately if you get between getting the next McVay and just getting a really good head coach that's going to win a lot of games? No. As long as the end result is you win a lot of games, people are going to stop talking about the Deshaun thing relatively quickly.